Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Study Online. Today happens to be the day 2 demo class of Python full stack course. Yeah, hope that you have attended the previous session or hope that you have watched the day 1 session. If you have not watched day 1 video and if you have not attended the day 1 session, no need to worry. Why? Because there is no intercorrelation between the topics. Let me just do one thing. Let me just quickly open the notes without wasting the time. Let me just open Python batch October, that is day 1. Let me just quickly recap whatever I have done in the previous session. Observe properly. I'll not be explaining the diagrams and all. Fine. Hope that you have written the diagram properly. Next, when it comes to application, I have just discussed what are the application using Python. Next, history of Python. Let me ask a few questions. If you are able to answer, well and good. Fine. Please tell me who invented Python. I just want the answer in chat box. Who invented Python? Let's take your time, type the name so that it will be there in your mind. Please don't commit a spelling mistake. No one I'm telling. Who invented Python? Okay, very good. GVR. Great. I think someone would have given the short form GVR. Okay, great. What is GVR? Like MJR. Okay, GVR. Guido van Rossum. See. Most of them are committing a spelling mistake. They're telling Rassam and all. Guido van Rossum. Is that fine? That's the reason I told you to type. I know most of them would have copy pasted. Guys, please don't commit the mistake. No one I'm telling. Why? Because you are learning the programming language invented by one person, and in future you might be having your bread and butter because of him. That's the reason. Please don't commit a spelling mistake. And one more question: when Python was invented? Directly, if they ask this question, what will be your answer? When Python was invented to the that means when Python was invented? 1989, not 1991. Okay, now tell me the answer. Officially, when Python was released to the market, that means to the software industry, officially. No need to remember the exact day and all. If you remember the day, well and good. But at least remember the year, that is 1991. Okay. Next, in the yesterday's session, I hope I have not thought anything related to technical part when it comes to the actual introduction. I think I have just given some build up of Python and I have just shown you the simplicity of Python. That's it, right? Okay. Now tell me, I just want the response from your side. Irrespective of your response, 100% the content, whatever I'm going to deliver in today's class would be same. But for the next upcoming class, I should set my mindset. That's the reason I'm asking. Please do tell me the answer, each and everyone. Fine. Take your time and tell me you're from which background. Whether if you're from engineering background, no need to mention engineering. Just mention your branch. That's it. If you're not from engineering, please do mention that. Don't mention year of passing and all. You just mention the branch. If you're from engineering, if not, please do mention what you have done. Okay, great. CS students, most of them, okay. ECE, okay. Mechanical, ISC, okay. Great. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so many CS and EC students, some of them are biotechnical, okay. ETC, okay. What is it? Okay, electronics and telecommunication, okay. No, so many of them are there from mechanical, don't worry. Okay, I want each one of you to tell the answer. At least see how the chat box will work. Okay, great. Now let me just tell you one thing. If you're from CSIS background, I don't know whether you have learned Python or not. Maybe it might be in the elective subject. Please tell me, already you have cleared an examination for Python, yes or no? If you are from CSIS background, you would have cleared that particular examination. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, great. Now tell me, in your college, whenever the lecturer or the teacher comes and start any language, fine, irrespective of whether it is Python, C, Java, or whatever it may be, or it may be any subject, don't you think directly they will start whatever there in the local author textbook. If there is a first program, directly they'll start with that. Yes or no? Directly they will just go into topic, and at what level the topic will be taught in the class, and they will just stick on their content. And even though some of the lecturers will reduce the content whatever there in the textbook, correct, right? If there is 8 module, I don't think a lecturer can do all the 8 modules to give the complete clarity. What they will do, they will teach 5 modules, and they will just teach 3 modules some detail, and another 2 modules what they will tell, see this important questions and you'll be getting the passing marks. That's what they will tell, correct, right? But when it comes to Python, that should not be the case. Why? Because you will be earning what I can tell, your first salary, or your technical job, or maybe in future your bread and butter through this programming language. That's the reason I'm telling, please learn in detail from scratch. Is that clear? Okay, right now guys, you might be a mechanical student. For me, you might be a CS student. Whether this topic is taught in your class or not, I don't know about that, but 100% I will speak from scratch. What is the reason for originating Python, and before Python what kind of language they were using, what was the problem associated with that, everything I'll speak. Is that clear? That's directly I can start off with the topic whatever there in Python. It doesn't make any difference between any other trainer and Sandesh. Is that clear? Okay, great. Let me just do one thing. Let me just close this one. I would like to open day two. Okay, if you are aware of this, no need to worry. Just tell me, whenever the language got originated, fine, whenever the language got originated, sir, what do you mean by this language, sir? If they want to perform some task, if anyone want to perform some task, maybe when they invented computer at that point of time, which is the, what I can tell, important part in the computer or in the CPU which will gives you the output? Please tell me the answer. I want anyone to tell the answer. Guys, if you consider a CPU or a computer, which is the part which is used? CPU. In CPU, please do recollect. What is the name of that part? Very good. Processor. Technically I can just tell it as microprocessor. Shall I tell it as microprocessor? I can just tell this happens to be microprocessor. Okay, sir, what is the use of this microprocessor? If you ask me, this microprocessor will take the input and it will just give the output. Sir, in which format it will take the input, sir? If I want to tell in which format it will take the input, first of all, you should understand what kind of device is this microprocessor. This microprocessor is a semiconductor. I can just tell this microprocessor happens to be the semiconductor technology device. If it is a semiconductor technology device, it will understand only one language. Okay, sir, what kind of language, sir? That happens to be machine level language, or some of them might be calling it as binary language. Is that fine? Microprocessor will understand only one language, that is machine level language, or some of them might be calling it as binary language. Okay, sir, how it will be there, sir? Very simple, guys. It will be available in the form of zeros and ones. That's it. It will be available in the form of what? Zeros and ones. If you provide the input to this microprocessor in the form of zeros and ones, then you will be able to see the output. That's best example. If you can, maybe if you are talking in front of me, if you talk in English, I can understand. If you talk in Kannada, I can understand. If you talk in Hindi, I can understand. If you talk in Tamil, Telugu, I can understand. But if you are talking in, what I can tell, Marathi, I cannot understand. Correct, right? Same way. If you are talking with this microprocessor, you have to speak, or you have to give the input in the form of what? Zeros and ones. Then only it will be producing the output. Is that clear for everyone? Now observe properly. In 1940s, let me just consider 1940s. I can just tell in 1940s, as a developer, fine, I can just tell this happens to be the developer. I'll just tell he is a developer. Simply I'm just writing. Assume that as a developer, they used to write the code in which language? If you ask me, it is very simple. They used to write the code in machine level language. In 1940s, the developer used to write the code in which language? Machine level language. Is that clear? Okay, sir, how this machine level language will look like? Already I have told, machine level language means what? It will be written in zeros and ones. That means here they would have written some machine level language code. Okay, sir, how this machine level language code will look like if you ask me zeros and ones, I can just tell 10101010. Next, 01010001. Like this. Simply, I'm just writing that. It doesn't mean that exactly this is what the what I can tell number they used to use. Simply just for your reference, I have just written. Next, if they provide this particular machine level language to this particular microprocessor, you should think and answer. Now, I'm telling you should think and answer. Do you think I'll be getting the output? If I provide this machine level language as the input for this microprocessor, do you think I'll be getting the output? 100% yes. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because this particular microprocessor will understand machine level. That's what, correct, right? See here, this developer used to write the code in what? Machine level language. 100% they used to get the output. There is no issue in that. But as days progressed, I will take one example here. Here I have just taken some examples so that you people will understand in a very better manner, including me. Human beings are what I can tell very tentative, or it will be very difficult for us to remember the numbers. Yes or no? Best example, some of them would have saved your number as my number in your mobile. Yes or no? Will you agree with my point? For example, if you buy a new SIM, what you will do? You will save your number. As hardly you can remember your number, your brother's number, your father, your mother. That's it. But you will not be having the what I can tell memory part to remember all your friends' number. Correct, right? Guys, I'm just speaking the reality. Yes or no? Please do respond. Yes or no? Okay. Same way, it was very difficult for the developers to remember the code. For example, if they want to perform some addition, fine. If they want to perform addition, at that point of time, they have to remember some code. Guys, I'm just writing the random code. That's it. Here, like this, they have to remember. If they want to perform subtraction, they have to remember some code like this. It was very difficult for them to remember the code. Just to perform some small activity, a huge number of mnemonic code. That is the number code. That's the reason what they have done. They have invented something called as assembly level language. Okay, sir. When this assembly level language was invented, if you ask me, officially assembly level language was invented in the year 1950s. Is that clear? In 1950s, what they have decided, they have just invented a language called as assembly level language. Okay, sir, how this assembly level language will look like? If you ask me, it is very simple. See here, this particular assembly level language will look like this. Developer used to write the code in assembly level language. If you want to perform addition, you just write add. If you want to perform subtraction, you just write sub. If you want to perform multiplication, you just write mul. Like this, technically add, sub, mul, all those things are called as what? Mnemonics. Technically, it is called as what? Mnemonics. That means now think and answer. It's a common sense question. If you provide this assembly level language as an input to this particular microprocessor, do you think you will be getting the output? Yes or no? 100% no. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because the microprocessor will not understand the assembly level language. So that is the reason what we have to do, sir. It is very simple. They have used a software which converts the assembly level language into machine level language. Sir, which is that software which is used, sir? Investment is very simple. What is the software name? I think most of them are aware of this particular software name. What is the name of the software? If you are aware, please do tell me the answer. Very good. See here, assembler. Assembler. From now onwards, if anyone is asking what is the meaning of assembler, your answer should be very simple. Assembler is the software. Assembler is the software which takes assembly level language as the input, and which will produce machine level language as the output. Is that clear? Assembler is the software which takes assembly level language as the input, and it will produce what? Machine level language as the output. Now tell me, sir, what is the again they got frustrated, sir. 100% yes. Why? Because if you want to remember my name, what you will do? You will just maybe it was very difficult for you to remember my number. Assume that this happens to be my number 85535313226. It was very difficult for you to remember my number. Then what you will do? You will give a name like Sandesh or Sandesh or whatever it may be. Assume that in your mobile you would have saved Sandesh. Fine. Next, after a couple of days, you will meet one more person with the same name. Next, what you will do? I know you will be giving a Sandesh 1, Sandesh 2, Sandesh 3, Sandesh 4, like this, correct, right? At some point of time, after a couple of years, if you want to remember and if you want to dial a person called as Sandesh, 100% you'll be getting confused which Sandesh that I have to call. Yes or no? Is correct, right? For human beings, remembering this particular mnemonics to perform the operation was frustrated at that point of time. That is the reason they have invented a new invention. Okay, sir, when they have invented, sir, in 1960s. In 1960s, they have invented a new invention. Okay, sir, what is that new invention? They have invented something called as writing the that is what I can tell. The developer used to write the code in a style called as high level language. High level language. Right now, this is what in 2021 also they're using high level language. Okay, sir, how this high level language will be written? If you ask me, using some symbols and English like language. Is that fine? They have combined some symbols and English like language to write the code. That means if you want to perform addition plus, if you want to perform subtraction minus, if you want to perform multiplication star, if you want to perform division like this, they used to use the symbols. Is that fine? Technically, this is only called as what? High level language. Again, I'll be asking same question. If you provide this high level language to the microprocessor, do you think you'll be getting the output? 100% no. Why? Again, same problem. Microprocessor will not understand the high level language. That's the reason. Whenever you want to provide the high level language to this particular microprocessor, please use a software. Okay, sir, what is the name of the software? The name of the software happens to be compiler. The name of the software happens to be compiler. From now onwards, if anyone is asking what is the meaning of compiler, it is very simple. Compiler is a software. Compiler is a software which will convert the given high level language, into what kind of language? Machine level language. That's it. Is that clear? That means instead of remembering Sandesh one, don't you think you will be saving my photo? That means along with what I can tell, saving my number and name. Don't you think if you give my picture, it will be very helpful for you to dial in future if you want to contact me? Similarly, they would have given some symbols here also. Is that clear for everyone? Okay, sir, give some examples for high level language. If you ask me, from starting, I'll just write maybe the famous programming language is what I'm going to write. If you want me to write all the high level language, 100% I'm aware of that. But the famous programming language, the famous high level programming language is what I'm going to write right now. C is the famous programming language. Next, C++. Next, Java. Next, Python. Like this, I can just keep on writing the high level language. But if you remember this, that is more than sufficient. That means these are the examples for high level programming language. Is that clear? HLL, high level language, ALL, assembly level language, MLL, machine level language. Don't worry, I'll be giving the full form for that. See here only I'll be giving, so that you people will not be getting confused. Let me just do one thing. Here I'll be giving somewhere here. I'll just tell what is MLL. MLL means machine level language. Okay. What is ALL? Assembly level language. Assembly level language. Guys, I know it looks very simple. That means it looks very childish. But whenever you want to revise, 100%, if you're not able to understand what is MLL, what is ELL, you might be getting confused. That's the reason I'm writing here itself. HLL, high level language. High level language. Next, BL, binary language. Binary language. Okay. Is there any short form that I have used? Hope I have not used any short form. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Initially, they were using what? Machine level language. They got frustrated. They have invented assembly level language. Even though assembly level language was frustrating, that's the reason they have invented something called as high level language. Is that clear? Now, if someone is asking the definition of an assembler and compiler, hope that you're in a position to tell the answer. Is that clear for everyone? Okay, let me just give the heading for this. I can just tell history of machine level language, comma, assembly level language, comma, high level language. That's it. That's what the heading that you have to take. Let me just do one thing. Let me just copy this. Please take the screenshot of this diagram number 1. Take the screenshot of this diagram number 1. Okay. If you have taken the screenshot of this diagram number 1, let me just do one thing. Let me just come back to the notes. Okay. Here I'll just tell a history of machine level language, assembly level language, and high level language. This happens to be diagram number 1. Below this, I would like to write the definition for assembler and compiler. I want anyone to take the initiative and tell me what is the definition of assembler. Maybe you can just write in your own words. What is the meaning of assembler? Please be very quick. Sorry, I think my voice was not audible. And what about while telling the definition? While telling that means while writing the notes at that point of time, is my voice is audible for you people? Oh, from last 5 minutes. At least you could have told me, right? Guys, sometimes in between the class, I might be drinking the water. That's the reason I'll be muting the what I can tell the mic. Fine. Please do let me know if you're not able to listen. Fine. If I'm writing something, if the cursor is moving, means I'm speaking. Without issues from outside. Okay, great. Okay, observe properly. When it comes to machine level language, assume that simply I'm just writing a random data. That's it. If they want to perform addition, this is how they used to write the code. When it comes to assembly level language, they used to write add, and when it comes to high level language, they used to write what? Plus. That's it. Similarly for subtraction, simply I'm just writing the random data. They used to write sub, and if they want to perform the operation, minus. Next, similarly for multiplication, okay, they used to use mul, and here they used to use star. Same thing when it comes to the last one that happens to be division. Just as this happens to be div. Next, like this symbolic representation is what they'll be using. Is that fine? This is machine level language. This is mnemonics. This is symbol representation. Let's do one thing. Just take the screenshot of this table. Take the screenshot of this table. Okay. I hope that you have taken the screenshot of this table. Let me just come back to the notes. Okay. Is that clear with everyone when it comes to the starting thing that you should learn whenever you're learning a programming language? Is that clear? Shall I proceed with the next topic? Okay. Now observe properly. The next heading happens to be conversion of high level language into machine level language. Just now you have seen a software which will convert a high level language into machine level language. Which is the name of the software? Can people tell me the name? Just now I have written compiler. Correct, right? Compiler. Next, one more software is there. I can just tell like this. In order to convert a high level language code into machine level language code, we have two system software. We have two system softwares. Which are those two system softwares? If you ask me, first one happens to be compiler. Another one is there that happens to be interpreter. Is that clear? Can people tell me the answer? How many system softwares are there in order to convert the given high level language into machine level language? Compiler and interpreter. That is two. Okay. Now let me just do one thing. Already I have given the basic introduction about the compiler, and I have just given the how the conversion will happen. But in detail, we will see how exactly the compiler will work, how exactly this interpreter will work. Is that fine? I'll be taking a diagram and I'll be explaining for you people so that you'll be getting the complete clarity. Let me just do one thing. Let me just copy this, go back to the whiteboard. In this whiteboard, this happens to be the diagram number 3. I'll just tell D3. Okay. Observe properly for a couple of minutes so that you'll be understanding in a very better manner. Assume that you are a developer. Fine. Assume that you are a developer. Sir, why to assume, sir? In a couple of months, we're going to become a developer. Fine, no issues. Well and good. Next, as a developer, what you will do? You might be writing the code in the form of high level language. Why? Because that's what in 2021 also they're using high level language. It may be any high level language. It may be a C program. It may be Java. Or it may be Python. Guys, in general, I'm speaking. Fine. As a developer, you will be writing the code in high level language. Technically, this is only called as what? Source code. I can just tell like this. I'll consider. So here, you're gonna write the high level code. Technically, this is only called as what? Source code. This is only called as source code. Source code. Is that clear for everyone? Okay. Next, let me just copy this. Let me just paste it. Yeah. Here also I have written the source code. Okay, sir. Next, what will happen, sir? this particular source code or this particular high level language code, whatever you have written as a developer, if you give it to compiler, what will happen? If you give it to interpreter, what will happen? I will tell. Listen properly. If you give this particular high level language code, if you give this high level language code to compiler, what is the duty of compiler? Think and answer. Just now I have to. What is the duty of compiler? Don't you think the compiler duty is to convert? The compiler duty is to convert the given high level language into what? What kind of language? Please do tell me the answer. What kind of language? Oh, very good. See here, it will convert it to what? Machine level language. Assuming that simply I'm just writing that's it here. Simply I'm just writing a random number like this. Is that fine? It will just convert the high level language into what? Machine level language. But in case of compiler, what will happen if you ask me? In case of compiler, all this high level language code, will be taken in a single shot. In a single shot, all this high level language will be taken by this compiler, and in a single shot, listen the word whatever I'm telling, in a single shot, it will convert it into what? Machine level language code. And later what will happen? This machine level language code has to be given for a microprocessor, correct? Right? It should be given for microprocessor. I can just tell this happens to be the microprocessor. In between there are so many processes. If you want, I can just write down. See here, directly will not be giving for microprocessor. So rather what will happen, sir? If you want to give it for microprocessor, it should be loaded on RAM. It should be loaded on RAM. Then only it will be given to microprocessor. Why? Because this particular microprocessor and RAM are interconnected. I can just tell this happens to be the RAM. As I'm just saying the what I can tell overview. Fine. You have to give this machine level language into what? This RAM. Okay, sir. How to provide this machine level language? How to provide this particular machine level language? I can just tell this happens to be ML. This machine level language. Let me just copy this. Let me just paste it here. Whatever the machine level language that is being generated by whom, if you ask me, compiler should be given for whom? The RAM. That means it should be loaded. Okay, sir. How this loading will happen, sir? This loading will happen using the software. What is the name of the software, if you ask me? The software name happens to be loader. Is that fine? Technically, the software name is loader. Loader takes this machine level language code and it will load to the RAM. If it is there in RAM, it will be given for whom? This machine level, that is microprocessor. If you give it to microprocessor, ultimately you will be seeing the output on the console. This is how the things will work. Is that clear? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Okay. Okay, sir. Right now we understood when it comes to compiler, that is compilation process will happen. I can just read the process happens to be compilation process. I can just tell this happens to be compilation. Okay. Yeah, this is happens to be the compilation. Okay, sir. What about interpretation, sir? That means in case of interpreter, what will happen, sir? Same story, guys. Same story. See here. I'll just copy this particular a piece of code. Let me just write down here. See here, same piece of code is what I have taken. Same here also, machine level language should be generated. Why? Because it has to be given for loader, right? See here, same diagram I'm just writing. This happens to be the loader. Next, what is the duty of loader? A loader should take the data and it should load to the RAM. I can just tell this happens to be the RAM. Within this RAM, let me just take this happens to be the machine level language code. Okay, great. Next, internally the RAM and microprocessor will be connected. Internally the RAM and microprocessor. Let me just take this happens to be the microprocessor. If you provide the machine level language to this microprocessor, ultimately you'll be seeing the outputs here. This RAM and microprocessor interconnected. If you provide the data, whatever got loaded from loader onto the RAM to microprocessor, ultimately you'll be seeing the output. There is no change in this RHS part. Everything would remain same. You'll be seeing the output. Okay, sir. Then what is the difference, sir? What is the difference, if you ask me? I will tell. This happens to be the software called as interpreter software. I'll just tell this happens to be interpreter. This particular interpreter software will not convert the given set of high level language into machine level language code in a single shot. Okay, sir. Then what will happen, sir? If you ask me, line by line conversion will happen. That means first line will be given for interpreter. It will just take the first line. It will produce the first line. Next, after completing the first line, it will be taking the second line. Next, second line, it will produce the machine level language. Next, third line will be given to interpreter. it will produce the third line. Like this, line by line execution will happen when it comes to interpreter. Apart from that, the right hand side story was same. If the machine level language is present, what the loader will do, loader will take all the machine level language code and it will load onto the RAM. Then ultimately will be getting the output in the microprocessor. But when it comes to what this particular interpreter, or I can just tell the process happens to be interpretation. This process happens to be interpretation. It will take the high level language code line by line and it will convert it into what? Machine level language. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? I just want the response from your side. Is that clear? Okay. Shall I proceed further? Okay, great. Let's do one thing. Let's take down the screenshot of this. Please take the screenshot of this. Okay. Hope that you have taken the screenshot. Let me just share you the screen. Yeah, observe properly. Let me just give the definition for a compiler and interpreter. Anyone just tell me the definition. We'll see how many of them will tell the definition. Try to tell the definition. Before telling the definition, you should write the diagram first. That is diagram number 3, I guess. Okay, diagram number 3. Okay, that is table. Okay, fine, no issues. Diagram number 3. Please tell me. Anyone tell me the definition? Please be very quick. Don't you think I can tell like this? Compiler is a system software which converts high-level language into machine-level language in a single shot. Yes or no? Compiler is a system software which converts high-level language into machine-level language in a single shot. Okay, sir. What about interpreter, sir? Interpreter is also a system software which converts the given high-level language into machine-level language, but not in a single shot, by executing line by line. Is that clear for everyone? Yes, please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Whatever the thing that I have written. That means the definition. Okay. Okay. From now onwards, if anyone is asking, what is the meaning of compiler? What is the meaning of interpreter? Are you in a position to tell the answer? Please do respond. Are you in a position to tell the answer? Okay. Now let me see how many of them will tell the answer for this. It's a very important interview question. Whatever I'm going to discuss right now in day 2 itself. Is Python a compiled language? Is Python a compiled language or interpreted language? Okay, it's a very important interview question. Most of them will fail to answer this question. Tell me the answer. Let me just take a survey. Fine. What kind of language is Python? Is a compiled language or interpreted language? Just give a guess. If you are aware of that, well and good. If you're not aware of that, well and good. Maybe I think CS students are there, right? Please tell me the answer. Okay, interpreted. Okay, cool. Next, I'm expecting some other answer from your side. That's the reason I'm waiting. Okay, hybrid language. Okay, very good. Okay, observe properly. It's a very important question. Now I'm telling here itself, I'll be marking as important. If you Google it, I know what kind of answer you'll be getting. No, I'm not asking whether it is scripted or not. 100% Python is a scripting language. My question is whether it is a compiled language or interpreted language. Why? Because already you're aware of what is compilation, what is interpretation, right? That's the reason I'm asking. Okay. In order to get the answer, observe properly. Let me just write some diagram. I'll just tell this happens to be diagram number 4. Okay, what about C programming language? What about C programming language? What about C programming language? Think and answer. Okay, compiled. Okay, compiled language. Okay, great. Okay, no issues, no issues. If you're not aware of the answer, don't need to worry. Observe properly. First, as a developer, in which language you'll be writing your code? That you tell me. Please tell me in which language you'll be writing your code as a developer. High level language, yes or no? As a developer, you'll be writing the code in which language? High level language. Of course, yes, correct. Right? Assume that this is what the high level language code that has been written, and I will consider this particular programming language happens to be Python. I can just tell this programming language happens to be Python. Okay, the high level language happens to be Python. Okay, let me just highlight that in a different color. Okay, great. Okay, observe. Now I'm telling, please observe. At the end, what will be there? At the end, what will be there? To whom you have to give the what I can tell, the input. To whom you have to give the input? That will tell me. To whom we have to give the input? Microprocessor. Assume this happens to be microprocessor. Ultimately, this microprocessor will understand only zeros and ones. This microprocessor will understand what? Zeros and ones. And if you provide zeros and ones to this microprocessor, ultimately you'll be seeing the output. This is how the things will work, right? That's how the things will work. If you want to provide the input to the microprocessor, first of all, don't you think the machine level language code should be placed on a RAM? Should be placed on a RAM. Is that clear? Should be placed on a RAM. I'll just tell this happens to be the RAM, and this is what the machine level language code. I'll just tell MLL. I'll just tell 10100101. Next 0011 1100. Simply I have just written some random code. That's it. Next, think and answer. In order to produce this machine level language code, some software should be there. Yes or no? Some software should be there. Okay, sir. What is the software which is used to, that means to obtain this machine level language? If you ask me, guys, it might be confusing for some of them. Listen carefully. Please listen carefully. In case of Python, the things will change. Now I'm telling, in case of Python, the things will change. I'm just explaining in a reverse manner so that you'll be understanding in a very better manner. Fine. In order to get this machine level language code, in case of Python, interpreter software will be used. Interpreter software will be used. If you just ask me what is the name of the interpreter software, I'll just tell the name of the interpreter software happens to be Python virtual machine. Python virtual machine. This particular Python virtual machine is nothing but what? Interpreter. The duty of this particular Python virtual machine or the interpreter, it will be working as an interpreter, is to convert the input, whatever it has been given to this, to convert the input, whatever it has been given. Sir, what kind of input you will be giving, sir? That you don't worry about that. I will tell. If you give some input, the responsibility is to generate the machine level language code, and it will be loading on the RAM. Now tell me, based upon the understanding, whatever you are having in your mind, this interpreter will convert the given input into machine level language in a single shot or line by line. That's what I'm expecting from your side. In a single shot or line by line. Very good. If I write LBL, what does that mean? Line by line. Is that fine? That means first line, second line, third line, fourth line, like this, line by line execution will happen. Is that clear for everyone? At least till this point. Is that clear for everyone? Okay, great. Now observe properly. To this particular interpreter, what will be given as input? If you ask me, it is very simple. Initially, whatever the high level language code, in case of Python, this high level language code will not be given to this PVM directly. No, never. But technically, I have to just write the short form also, because some of them will be calling it as PVM, Python virtual machine. Is that fine? Yeah. Directly, they will not provide this high level language to PVM. Most of them will get confused here itself. What they will feel, okay, high level language code is being given to PVM. No, never. what will happen internally, this you cannot see, it will be happening in the background. If you want to see 100%, I'll just show you that, don't worry. Internally, this high level language code will be given to a compiler. Will be given to what? A compiler. Will be given to compiler. Will be given to compiler. But compiler directly it will not be used. Okay, sir, what kind of compiler, sir? It is a Python compiler. It is a Python compiler. It is a Python compiler. It's a Python compiler. Okay, sir, what is the duty of this Python compiler, sir? What is the duty of this Python compiler, if you ask me? If you provide the high level language as the input to this Python compiler, it will not generate the machine level language. No, never. What will happen, if you ask me? It will generate one more set of code. One more set of code. Okay, sir, what is that set of code, if you ask me? That set of code is only technically called as bytecode. Is that clear for everyone? What is the set of code called as? Bytecode. Bytecode. Or some of them might be calling it as intermediate code. Intermediate code. Is that clear? Okay, sir, what is this intermediate code or bytecode? Why there is a necessity of generating this intermediate code or bytecode? I will tell you as and when the time comes, maybe in the next session, or maybe in the after a couple of days, I'll be telling that answer, because I have to speak platform dependent and platform independent for that. But right now, for time being, please understand this Python compiler duty is to convert the high level language into what? Bytecode. Okay, sir, this how this bytecode will be there, sir? This bytecode is a combination of high level language plus machine level language. Is that fine? Bytecode is a combination of high level language plus machine level language. I cannot write down and show it to you, but try to understand. Bytecode is a combination of high level language and machine level language. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Now you should tell me the answer. Now you should tell me the answer. Already people are aware of the nature of compiler, the basic nature of compiler. Think and answer. This bytecode, by taking this high level language, will be generated in a single shot or line by line? In a single shot or line by line? Please do respond. Single shot or line by line? Yes. Means, guys, who is telling the answer? Line by line. Guys, compiler duty is what? In a single shot, right? In a single shot, it will take and it will convert. Whatever it may be, fine. In a single shot, it will convert. In a single shot, it will generate the bytecode. Next, this bytecode will be given to this PVM. PVM will convert the given bytecode into machine level language code. This machine level language code will be given to microprocessor. Through microprocessor, will be getting the output. Now tell me, what is this process called as? What is this process called as? Compilation. Can I tell compilation? Compilation. And next, what is this process called as? What is this process called as? Interpretation. Interpretation. Now tell me, what kind of language is Python? Is that a compiled or interpreted? From the execution point of view, that means as a developer, if you see from the execution point of view, you can call Python as an interpreted programming language. That is correct. In the interview, if they're asking, is Python an interpreted programming language? Your answer should be yes. From the execution point of view, it will be called as interpreted programming language. But internally, the code is being compiled using a Python compiler. Is that clear? Now tell me, in general, if I'm asking what kind of language is Python, what should be your answer? What should be your answer? It is both compiled and interpreted programming language. Technically, it is only called as hybrid language. Hybrid language. Is that clear? Is that a compiled language or interpreted language? Hybrid language. Why? Because both compilation and interpretation will occur. Okay. In the interview from now onwards, fine. Assume that you might be attending the interview tomorrow or after 1 month or after 2 months or after 1 year. Why? Because you might be a student or experienced candidate. If they're asking, explain how the code will be processed and how we'll be getting the output using Python. Are you in a position to tell the answer? Please do respond. Are you in a position to tell the answer? Like this, you have to write the diagram, but you have to explain them if the chance is given for you people. Yes, you only tell me. In the interview, if they're asking, is Python compiled or interpreted? If you tell, oh, it is both hybrid, and if you just simply blink your eyes, nothing gonna happen, right? You should take the initiative. You should explain in detail so that the interviewer will understand you have learned the language in detail. Is that clear? Please do respond. Is that clear? Okay, someone is asking, sir, write the full form. Okay, okay, right. I'll write. Don't worry. What is this SS? What is SS? Single shot. Single shot. What about LBL? Line by line. Line by line. I think I need not to write for HLL, MLL and all. Is that clear? Okay. Please take the screenshot of this. Please take the screenshot of this. Okay. Hope that you have taken the screenshot of this. Let me just go back to the notes. That is day 2. Okay. Now tell me the answer. What should be your answer? I can just tell like this here. I can just tell Python is both compiled and interpreted language. Python is both compiled and interpreted language. Compiled and interpreted language. As and when the time comes, I'll show you the compiled file. Also, I'll show you. Is that fine? Please do respond. I'll show you the compiled file as and when I take the Python programming stuff and all. Okay. Python is both compiled language and interpreted language. In other words, it's a hybrid language. Hybrid programming language. It's a hybrid programming language. Is that fine? Next, one more point I will give. From execution point of view. From execution point of view. Python is what kind of language? I hope you people will tell the proper answer. From execution point of view, what kind of language is Python? Very good. So you're only telling the answer. From execution point of view, it's an interpreted programming language. Is that clear? Okay. Please write the diagram here. You can just tell diagram number happens to be 4. Diagram number 4. Okay, great. Now one more question I'll be asking. Let me see how many of them will tell the answer. Already I have decided to learn Python. Fine, well and good. If you are aware of C, well and good. If you're not aware of C, no issues. Let me just ask a simple question. Do you think Python is faster in execution or C is faster in execution? Python is faster or C is faster? I will see how many of them will tell the answer. Okay, Python. Yes, you should not tell the answer like, I know you're very much interested towards Python. It doesn't mean that you should tell the wrong answer. Think an answer. Just recollect whatever you have learned in your college days. Okay, don't worry. In the interview, if they're asking the question like this, why Python is relatively slow when compared to C? That means I hope I have told the answer. Which one is slow? Python is slow. Is that clear? Python is slower in execution when compared to C. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Relatively slow. So microsecond, that's it. So then also why they are using Python, sir? Why? Because there are a lot of advantage when compared to C. Fine. I'll just do one thing. I'll just write a diagram for this. Let me just consider diagram number 5. So why this particular Python is slow when compared to C? You should guide me in writing the diagram number 5. In a very quick manner, I'll be writing. I'll not be wasting your time. Just tell me the answer. Let me just take Python. Assume this happens to be the Python program. That means high-level language is what you'll be writing. I'll just tell this happens to be the Python code. Next, this Python code will be given for what? What kind of software? Please be very quick. Don't waste my time. Please tell the answer. What is the software name? Python compiler. Python compiler. Next, this Python compiler will produce a code. What is your code called as? What is your code called as? Okay, bytecode. I can just tell this happens to be bytecode. Okay. Next, this particular bytecode will be given for what? This particular bytecode will be given for a software. What is the software name? I can just tell the software name happens to be Python virtual machine. Shall I write PVM? Shall I write PVM so that you will be understanding in a very better manner? Next, PVM will place the generated machine level language code onto the what I can tell RAM. I'll just tell this happens to be the machine level language. Machine level language. Next, this machine level language will be available within the RAM. I can just tell this happens to be the RAM. Just give me 1 minute of time. Okay, this is RAM. Next, ultimately from the RAM, a microprocessor is interconnected. You can just tell RAM and microprocessor are interconnected. If you provide the input to this particular microprocessor, ultimately you'll be getting the output. There is no doubt in that. Now you should think and answer. How many processes will happen? That means how many softwares are involved in order to get the output? How many softwares are involved? First one, number one, don't you think Python compiler is a software that is being used? Next, number two, PVM is a software that is being used. That means two softwares are used to get the desired output. Will you agree with my point? That means it is slow. Why Python is slow when compared to C? If you ask me, two softwares are involved in order to get the output. Sir, what about C, sir? That is very simple. You only observe in C. What will happen? Same thing I'll just take. I see here. Same thing I'll just take. Let me consider this happens to be the high level language code. Let me write in a very quick manner. This happens to be the high level language code. This is C programming language. In case of C programming language, they don't have PVM, CVM and all. Directly they'll be using a compiler. What is the name of the compiler? If you ask me, it is C compiler. C compiler. The duty of C compiler is to convert the given high level language code into what? The machine level language code. Is that clear? The given language code will be converted to what? The machine level language code. I can just tell this happens to be the machine level language code. This machine level language code will be placed where it will be placed on the RAM. I can just tell this happens to be the RAM. I'll just tell this happens to be the RAM. Let me just select this. Okay, next, this happens to be the RAM. Next, ultimately from the RAM, 100% the RAM and microprocessor are interconnected. I can just tell this happens to be the microprocessor. This is the microprocessor. From the microprocessor, you'll be getting the output. There is no doubt in that. Now tell me, how many processes involved? That means how many software is involved to get the desired output? How many software is involved in getting the desired output? I want the quick response from your side. Please be very quick. Only one step here. Only one step. That is the reason C is fast in execution when compared to Python. Now tell me, in 2021, whenever you are developing an application where really speed matters, then I'm only telling go with C. If speed doesn't matter, that means 100% speed is important, but you're not giving the complete importance for speed, but you are giving the importance for some of the terminologies like platform dependent, independent. Sir, what, sir? From that time you're telling independent, dependent. What is that, sir? 100%. That is what the difference. Fine. That's the reason in 2021 they'll be using Python. Although C is faster, why they are using Python? Don't worry, in the next session I will tell. But as of now, are you in a position to understand why Python is relatively slow when compared to C? Please do respond. Are you able to understand? Okay. Just do one thing. Just take the screenshot of this. Take the screenshot of this diagram. Okay. Hope that you have taken the screenshot of this diagram. Let me just come back to notes. That is day 2. And this particular day 2 notes. I'm going to give the note points. See here, in a single shot, I'm just writing. In case of C programming language, if the high-level language code is given to C compiler, then it will generate a machine-level language code which can be executed to get the output. But in case of Python programming language, if the high-level language code is being given to Python compiler, then it will generate a bytecode. Later, that bytecode will be converted into machine-level language code by Python interpreter in order to get the output. That is the reason. That's why Python is relatively slow. That's why Python is relatively slow when compared to C. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Guys, please do respond. Is that clear? Is there any doubt for anyone? I want a response from your side. Is that clear? Okay, great. Now observe properly. In today's session, I have started with history of machine level language, high level language, and assembly level language, and I have explained what is assembler, what is compiler, and I have just given the table, and I have just told the difference between the compiler and interpreter, and I have just explained the one more question. What is that important question? Where is that question? Yeah, here is that question. Sorry, I have not underlined the question. Is Python a compiled language or interpreted language? It's a very important question. I can just tell number one. First question, whatever I have discussed. Next, second one, why Python is relatively slow when compared to C? Is that fine? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Now tell me, what kind of language is Python? If someone is uttering Python, what are all things that will come to your mind? I know in your mind, Python is platform independent, and Python is relatively slow. Python is a hybrid language. Python is an interpreted language. Internally, Python is a compiled language. Like this, Python is a scripting language. So many things will come to your mind, right? And one more thing should come to your mind that is very important. That happens to be Python is an object-oriented programming language. Yes or no? Will you agree with my point? Python is an object-oriented programming language. How many of them will agree with my point? Python is an object-oriented programming language. Okay, sir, why Python is object-oriented? Why they have developed Python as object-oriented? What kind of styles are there when it comes to the programming language? If you ask me, I would like to consider the heading happens to be evolution of high-level programming language. 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 Okay, sir, how this evolution happened, and initially what kind of language they have developed, and right now everyone are using the object-oriented style. Why they were using object-oriented style? What was the previous style that was there? If you ask me, for that I have to just write on simple diagram. Just observe this diagram and let me just conclude the session. After writing the diagram, just observe. Initially, I can just tell as a developer in the olden days, as a developer, what I can tell, I'll just tell this happens to be the developer. Okay. Developer, they used to write the code in which style? If you ask me, the first style happens to be unstructured manner. Is that fine? Unstructured manner. Technically, it is only called as unstructured programming language. Unstructured programming language. Unstructured programming language. Unstructured programming language. Sir, can you just give some example for unstructured programming language, sir? 100%. Why not? I'll be giving some example. Just observe properly. If you just ask me to give the example for unstructured programming language, I can just tell Fortran Basic. Fortran Basic. It's also a programming language. Best example for unstructured programming language. Is that clear? Fortran Basic. Technically, the name happens to be Fortran Basic. Let me just do one thing. Let me just highlight that so it will be getting the clarity. Okay, sir. How they used to write the code in unstructured manner? If you ask me, it's very simple. Assume that they want to perform some task. Sir, what kind of task, sir? They want to perform some addition. Then what they used to do? They used to write the code for add. That is addition. They used to write the code like this. They used to write some piece of code. I can just tell this happens to be for addition. Next, If they want to perform subtraction, they used to write the code like this. They used to write the code. Simply, I'm just writing dash, dash, dash. That means they used to write the code for subtraction. Again, if they want to perform the same task called as addition, they were not reusing the code. Rather, they were writing the code again. So here, they were writing the code again, once again, they were writing the code. And they used to give the name, that is add 1 or add 2 or whatever it may be. I can just tell this happens to be add or add 1 or whatever it may be. That means to perform addition operation, again they used to write the code. That's what you have to understand in unstructured manner. Is that clear? Now tell me, if you observe this, this is well and good. So you're writing the code for add, sub, well and good. But do you think again writing the code for add is the best approach? Yes or no? 100% no. It's not a best approach, right? Why? Because there is no reusability. As a developer, you will be getting frustrated. Why? Because there is no reusability. I can just tell no reusability. So here, no reusability. No code reusability. That means no code reusability. No code reusability. That's the one disadvantage associated with unstructured programming language. Second one, it is very complex to understand and it is very complex to write the code. These are the two disadvantages associated with unstructured programming language. That's the reason as days progressed, developers were stopped to use the unstructured programming manner. Rather, they have invented something called as structured programming language. Okay, sir, can you just give some example for structured programming language? 100% will be giving the example. So here, I can just tell structured programming language. Structured programming language. Best example for structured programming language happens to be, what is the best example? Anyone? Best example? C. C program is the best example for structured programming language. Okay, sir, how they used to write the code when it comes to C? If you ask me, it is very simple. If they want to perform addition, they used to write the code like this. If they want to perform subtraction, they used to write the code like this. See here. If they want to perform subtraction, they used to write the code like this here. I can just consider this is for addition, this is for subtraction. This is for addition. They used to write the code, that is, they used to write the piece of code here. Next, for subtraction, they used to write the piece of code here. I can just tell this happens to be sub. Like this, they used to write the piece of code. That means within a function, they used to write the code. That means within a function, they used to write the code. I can just tell function, a procedure, subprogram. And for that, they used to give the name. Assume that they used to give the name like this, sub. And for this particular code, how they used to write the code, if you ask me, it is very simple. Like this, they used to write the code. Let me just increase the box so it will be understanding in a better manner. Just give me a minute. I have to write something inside the box. That's the reason. See here, they used to consider a function. Okay, sir, what is a function, sir? Assume that for addition, AF is the function. I'm just taking our addition function like this. They used to create the function. Within the function, they used to write the code. Within the function, they used to write the code. And they used to close this. Same thing happened when it comes to what? Subtraction. Instead of writing the code, that means instead of writing the code again and again, what they have done, they have given the name for the particular program, that is add sub, and within that program they used to give the name like sub function, and they used to write the code within the function. They used to write the code within the function. Sir, what is the use of that, sir? If they want to perform addition 100%, they can execute this program and then they'll be getting the output. If they want to perform subtraction, they can execute this program and they can get the output. But again, if they want to perform addition, subtraction, they will not be using that means they'll not be writing the code from scratch. Rather, what they will do, they will create a main function. They will create a main function. I'll just tell this happens to be the main function. One name they will give. I can just tell this happens to be the main function. I can just tell this happens to be main. Fine. I'm just saying the program name. Fine. Within this, they used to create the main function. Within this main function, you need not write the code once again. Rather, you call the function. What is the name of the function? Add fun. You just call the name of the function. That's it here. You just call the name of the function. Automatically, it will be executing the code. What will happen, sir, if I write like this? Don't worry, I'll just show you. Next, if you want to perform subtraction, you just call sub fun function. The function will be executed. That means it is very simple. If you are calling add fun, control comes and it will execute this piece of code. If you are calling sub fun, that what will happen? Control comes here and it will execute this piece of code. That means this is how the things were there at that point of time. How many of them were able to understand? Please do respond. I just want to answer from your side. How many of them are able to understand? What is the advantage associated with this? Are you able to understand? I want a quick response. Are you able to understand? Yes or no? The structured programming language. Okay. Now tell me, sir, everything was fine, sir. Right now they used to call this as functions, or some of them might be calling it as subprograms. Because subprogram, main program, subprograms, or some of them might be calling it as procedures. Guys, if there is any spelling mistake, please do tell me. Procedures. What is the disadvantage? Sir, is there any disadvantage, sir? 100% there is a disadvantage. That's the reason they have invented a new style of programming language. Sir, what is the disadvantage, sir? 100% reusability was there. I can just tell here. Reusability was there. I can just tell reusability is there. Code reusability. Code reusability is there. And it is very simple. It is very simple. It is not complex. It is very simple. Sir, whatever the disadvantage of unstructured programming language has been overtaken by structured, sir. Why? Because code reusability is there. It is very simple. Then what is the disadvantage, sir? The main disadvantage associated with this particular structured programming language happens to be it is not secured. It is not secured. That means security will not be provided for the data. Sir, how the security will not be provided, sir? It is very simple. Observe properly. Assume that you want to declare a variable. Fine. I'll just tell two variables, maybe integer a and b. Don't you think this particular a and b can, that means if you're declaring this a and b within a main function, it will be accessible by main function. Well and good. See here, main function can access this a and b. Similarly, this add function can also access a and b. This sub function can also access a and b. Why? Because the variable, whatever you will declare inside the particular language, that happens to be global variable. Automatically, it will just take a variable as what? Global variable. That means it will be accessible by the subprograms. That means there is no security, guys. If you write some, that means if you are hiding some data or if you're declaring some variable, if it is accessible by the subprogram, then don't you think it is not secured? Yes or no? How many of them will agree with my point? It is not secured. Now are you able to understand the disadvantage associated with C? How many of them are able to understand the disadvantage associated with C? Guys, this is not the only disadvantage. If you want, I can just tell some 10 disadvantage. But the main disadvantage, I'm speaking about the origin of programming language. That means the style, writing style. Is that clear for everyone? I want the response from your side. Is that clear? That is the reason what they have done to provide the security, to provide the main intention is security. That's it. To provide the security, instead of writing this add, see here, you write add function. See here, there is no issue in that. You write add function, you write sub function, no issues. You write add function, you write sub function. I can just tell this happens to be add. This is add function, and maybe this sub function I'll not be writing. See here, this sub function I'll be writing here below this. This is add function. Fine. This is add function, and this one happens to be the sub function, subtraction function. Simply I'm just writing. Assume that you would have written some piece of code. You would have written some piece of code within this add, and you would have written some piece of code within this sub also. But you don't want the variables which are declared for add should not be accessible by sub. If you want to do like that, it is very simple. Place this add function within an object, and you declare a variable called as int a comma b, whatever it may be. Fine. Now this particular int a comma b will be accessible by whom? If you ask me, add function can access. Why? Because it is enclosed within a class or within an object. Within a class or an object. What is class? What is object? Everything I will tell. What is object? That means what is class? It's a blueprint of an object, correct? Right? That means within an object, if you declare a function, then these variables will be limited to what? Add. That means add function can easily access. 100% add function can access. But if in case any other function try to access, it will not provide the access. That means security issue. It will not provide the access. That is what the advantage of object-oriented programming language. I can just tell like this. Developers started to use one more style of programming language that is only technically called as what? Object-oriented programming language. object-oriented programming language. Let me just consider this happens to be the object-oriented programming language. This is what everyone are using in the industry. If you consider Java, that's object-oriented. If you consider Python, that's an object-oriented. But initially, when they invented, what was the name or what was the invention that happened? If you ask me, I know right now you can consider Java, Python, but at that point of time, let me speak. What was the object-oriented programming language that was invented? That means the famous object-oriented programming language at that time. Anyone? Right now, I can understand Java and Python, but at that point of time, I'm speaking. At that point of time, very good. C++, C++. See, you're only telling the answer. Very good, very good, very good. C++ happens to be the object-oriented style of programming language at that point of time. Now tell me, when it comes to C++, don't you think code reusability is there? How many of them will agree with my point? Code reusability is there. Next, code reusability is there. Next, it is very simple. It is very simple, and it is secured as well. It is secured as well. Yes or no? Now tell me, okay, sir, then they could have used C++. Why they have invented Java? Why they have invented Python? If you ask me, there is a disadvantage associated with C++. Sir, what, sir? You will tell the advantage, again you will tell the disadvantage. 100% I have to speak the reality, right? Sir, what is the disadvantage associated with C++, sir? The disadvantage happens to be, I'll be writing in a red color so that it is a very important point. See here, it is platform dependent. That's the reason they invented Java. They started to use Java. They invented Python. They started to use Python. Is that clear? Please do respond. I know it is reusability. All those things are there, but it is platform dependent. It is platform dependent. This is what the disadvantage associated with what? C++. Is that clear? That's the reason most of them stopped using C++. How many of them are able to understand? Guys, right now, my intention is not to explain platform dependent, independent. I know I have just kept that as suspense, and in tomorrow's session, I'll be explaining what is platform dependent. At least by now, are able to understand the history of programming language. Initially, they started with unstructured manner. What is the advantage? What is the disadvantage? Then structured programming language. What is the advantage? What is the disadvantage? Next, object-oriented style. What is the advantage? What is the disadvantage? I know C++ is the first object-oriented programming language which was famous, but right now nobody is using C++. I know some of them are using C++. I will tell you for what purpose they're using. But are you able to understand the things whatever I have told in the class? Please do respond. Okay, now tell me, in any of your college, or in any of the YouTube video, or in any of the Udemy course that you take, directly they will start with Python topic. Data type, come, I will teach the data type, list, set to tuple, dictionary, that's it. Directly they'll start. Yes or no? Guys, I could have also done like that. But you should understand from scratch. Tomorrow you might learn JavaScript. Tomorrow you might learn Java. But these things would remain same. The foundation would remain same. Guys, whenever you're constructing a house, you should not plan like you'll be constructing only the ground floor. Fine. The foundation should be very strong in such a way that you will learn Python. Next, one more first floor, you'll learn Java, you'll learn Angular, you might learn 5 or 6 programming language. But if the foundation is proper, easily you can learn a language. Yes or no? Guys, trust me, learning a programming language, first programming language, takes some time in your life. For example, if you want to learn Python, it takes the complete Python full stack, it takes some 4 to 5 months of time. But afterwards, you will be joining a company. Maybe 1 year you'll be working as a Python developer. Next, there will be one more project in the same company where you have to learn Java full stack. That means you have to learn Java. Do you think same amount of time, same amount of effort is required to learn Java? Yes or no? 100% no, never. Why? Because already people are aware of Python full stack. Hardly it will take 15 days to 1 month to learn the complete Java full stack if you people are aware of Python full stack. Yes or no? Yes, it's like this. Assume that you know how to ride what I can tell, a bullet. You know bullet, right? A vehicle, a Royal Enfield. Okay. You know how to ride a Royal Enfield. Tomorrow, if I give KTM bike, I know the styling and the seating is different. But don't you think after riding some 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, you'll be getting adjusted to the particular bike? Yes or no? Initially, learning Royal Enfield is difficult. I'll agree with your point. But if you learn Royal Enfield and if you know how to ride a bike and if you get that balance, if you know how to apply the clutch, if you know how to apply the brake, don't you think riding some other bikes will be easy for you people? Yes or no? Correct, right? That's how the programming languages are there. As a fresher, if you ask me, or as a what I can tell, uh, a person who is not having any knowledge in IT industry, or you might be from CS or whatever it may be, best language to start your career happens to be Python. Fine, is that clear? And there are hell lot of opportunities that are available in the market. And one more thing, one more doubt the students were asking, sir, if I do this course, will you be providing the certificate? 100% I'll be providing the certificate. Is that clear? And there is no test conducted for the certificate. Why? Because if I give the test also, I know you will be copying. Guys, I'm not worried about whether you copy or not. I'm much worried about whether I'll be delivering the content properly in the class or not, whether the students are able to understand the content whatever I have delivered in the class or not. That's what my main concern. Today, if you do the admission today, if you ask me to give the certificate, I'll be giving. But don't you think the certificate will be a sheet of paper without having the knowledge? Yes or no? That's the reason. First, become knowledgeable. Don't worry regarding the certificate, all those things. And if you miss the live class, and some of them will tell, sir, the timings is not possible, sir, we cannot attend the class at 8 o'clock daily. Yeah, 100%, don't worry, fine. Maybe I'll be providing the recorded session of that. Maybe if you watch the recordings or if you watch the live session, I think live session, you'll be having that, what I can say, that Josh will be there. Okay, someone is speaking live, so that we have to listen. In the recorded session, you can just fast forward and you can just listen to the class. I hope if you fast forward my voice, it will be even more difficult to understand, right? Because some of them have the complaint like this, sir, you will speak very fast. That's the reason for this batch. I have reduced my, what I can tell, the way of talking. I'll speak very fast when it comes to Kannada or English, whatever it may be. Okay, forget about all those things. Are you able to understand, guys? Please take the screenshot of this diagram. Can people tell me the diagram number, if you don't mind? Diagram number 5 or 6? At least tell me the diagram number 6. Okay, thank you. Please take the screenshot of this diagram number 6. And while taking the screenshot, just have a look at the things, whatever I have written. Okay, is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. And when it comes to notes, maybe directly you can just take the diagram number 6. No need to write the notes. Just keep the knowledge in your mind. And please do attend tomorrow's session. It's a very, very important. Why? Because I'm going to explain platform dependent, independent, and why they were not using Java, and internally what will happen in Java, why bytecode concept came into picture. I know I have introduced a technical term called as bytecode and I have not given the clarity. In tomorrow's session, I'll be giving the complete clarity about what is bytecode, why they have to generate the bytecode, all those things I will tell, why they are not using C++, why Python came into what I can tell, the main picture. Is that clear? And what kind of applications are built using Java, what kind of applications will be built using Python, everything I will tell. Is that clear? Tomorrow, same time. Actually, one more thing. If I tell the class will start at 8 o'clock, sharp 8 o'clock, it will start. What you should do if you ask me, 7:45, at least 15 minutes prior the class, at least sit in front of your laptop or your mobile phone, open the notes, whatever I have written, at least 15 or 10 minutes before the class, just glance. That means just see whatever you have learned from the previous session and you can just attend the session. Is that clear? And always I would suggest you to attend the session through laptop if you are having. If not, you can just watch the session through mobile. Is there any doubt for anyone? If you're having any doubt, please do ping me in Telegram or WhatsApp. I hope everyone are there in the Telegram or WhatsApp group, correct, right? And have I told what is the complete package in this particular Python full stack? You'll be getting core Python, advanced Python, Django, REST API, project, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, including the projects. In that, next, complete SQL for free of cost. SQL and HTML will be included in that. Just attend the demo classes regarding the course fee structure, all those things I'll be telling you in one of the demo classes. But right now, your concentration should be towards learning the stuff. Guys, this complete week, no need to pay a single rupee. Just keep on attending the class. Just understand whether you're able to learn something from me. That's it. Is that fine? And don't miss the class. If you miss the class, also watch the recorded session and update the notes. I hope everyone are having the access for drive link. Correct, right? You can download the notes from the drive link and you can just update the notes. Okay. How many of them felt the session was good? That means, yes, sir, somewhat we have understood in today's session. How many of them at least respond for this? At least somehow we have learned an extra thing, sir. Instead of directly going for Python and learning data types and all, we have learned something new. Okay, fine. And please tell me, in any of your college, they spoke like that, like this in any of your college? No, if it is yes, 100%, I'm the very happiest person. Why? Because I can feel they have updated themselves. Guys, I'll just tell you what will happen in the college. Fine, I'm not blaming the lecturers. Trust me, I'm not blaming the lecturers. At some point of time, I will blame. Why? Because it's their responsibility. What will happen when it comes to the institute or some of the universities? They'll just keep the same old, what I can tell, uh, unupdated data, unupdated curriculum, which is not being used in the industry. What your college lecturers will do when they join any of the company, that means any of the college, initially one subject will be assigned for them. They'll be stick on to the same subject from 6 years or 8 years or 7 years. Apart from the textbook, they will not even try to do the research. Correct, right? Yes or no? You just do one thing, uh, guys. Right now, without seeing the notes, without seeing the mobile, maybe if code when it comes to project, I'll be coding 1,000 lines of code. I'll not be seeing mobile, I'll not be seeing the textbook, I'll not be seeing anything. Fine, I'll be just coding in front of you. Fine. But 90% of the college lecturers will teach by seeing one textbook or by seeing one sheet of paper. Yes or no? This should not happen. When you have doubt about yourself, don't teach. That's it. If you can't teach someone without seeing the notes or without seeing the textbook or whatever it may be, fine, then you're not a good teacher or good trainer. That's what I can tell. Guys, you might be having a very good English or very bad English. That is up to your wish, fine. But ultimately, if you're able to convey the things for the student, that is well and good. Is that clear? Okay, great. And if you're having any sort of doubt, please do ask me. And my humble request is to inform this Python session. If you feel, yes, I'm happy with this content or I'm happy with the teacher, please do inform your friends so that they can also get beneficial from this. Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll meet in tomorrow's session. Same credentials. Credentials will not change. And soon after the class, I'll be uploading the notes. You can just access the notes. Thank you so much. Have a great day.